What's up, guys? Welcome to the Peer Review Podcast. My name is Caleb Davis, and today I'm here to bring you guys some of the interesting offseason moves that we've saw thus far. I tried recording this video yesterday. Didn't go so well. File ended up corrupting. It's okay. I ended up just going out to the pool, reset, went out to the pool today. I'm in a much better mood, so we're going to try this again. So I just wanted to hit a couple topics very quickly today. I'm going to have one video earlier today, right now, where I'm going to cover the Kawhi to the Raptors move, Ja going to Portland, and then just talking about the Thunder very quickly at the end, them shedding all this salary, specifically to the East, which I find fascinating. But just starting with Kawhi to the Raptors, the trade details. The Raptors received Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers received back in return Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, 1 pick swap, and 2 seconds. So just from the Clippers POV, I'm going to start with them. They got a haul for Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, just based on the fact that you got really good value. You sold high on Kawhi, given his injury history. It's been spotty his entire Clipper tenure. And you were able to move off of him. And I believe he was on the final year of his deal. He is going to sign an extension with the Raptors, but you were able to move off an expiring contract. You bring back Brandon Ingram, who's been an all-star in the past. He'll probably show up, average about 24, 25, somewhere between, 22 to 25. So you have a bucket getter, a guy who can, I won't say fill seats, but like he's not a bum by any stretch of the imagination. And then Grady Dick, just a young piece. He's a name in the deal. The 2 firsts, the pick swap, and then the 2 seconds. That's where you bring in value. Specifically, like those 2 firsts, the Raptors, I don't know what year. I want to say one was like 2031, so they're a little further out where Kawhi probably won't even be there. So you're banking on them, kind of falling off a cliff. And who knows? You never know with this current NBA and with the way that like pick rules have changed over the years. Like they're running this new system now. I just thought good value. Like you bring in Brandon Ingram, you put him next to Benedict Mathurin if they re-sign him, and then they just drafted Keaton Wagler. So you have some type of promise going on there. Now, onto the Raptors side of things, I think this was a great move for them. I think Kawhi is a great addition to the team that they already have built. I think he fits in seamlessly. I think you bring him in as a shot creator and more so for himself, but a guy who can get his own shot at an elite level. He's an elite three-point shooter, elite mid-range scorer. He's still a good defender when he needs to be. And you bring him around all this youth and athleticism and versatility, and you have all this optionality as it pertains to like schemes. Like, think they kept Colin Murray Boyles in the deal, which I think was very important. He can serve as like a small ball 5 and looks like, imagine, RJ Barrett as the 2, Kawhi at the 3, Scotty Barnes at the 4, Colin Murray Boyles at the 5. I don't know who the 1 would be in that lineup just yet, but the switchability, like the scheme there is pretty exciting to think about. They do need to address 3-point shooting, but like I said, I don't know. You bring in a guy like maybe Anthony Simons. I know he's a point guard. He can shoot. I don't know how money would work there. I'd have to look into that, but they have some promise, and I think this immediately catapults the Raptors up to, one of the top teams in the East. If the Knicks are like the big dog, as things currently stand, like the Raptors can be right there under them with teams like the Pistons as of right now. I want to see how the offseason goes, but with like the Pistons, and I don't know what the Celtics are going to do, but they'll probably be back. That mix of teams. So good move for both sides. I'd give both sides. I'd give the Raptors probably. It's a lot of picks. Like you're bringing back Kawhi though at 35. Though I give the Raptors like B plus, A minus. The Clippers, I give them A plus. Great trade. Now moving on, we have Ja Morant going to Portland, and this deal, I'm looking at the details right now, but this deal was not a fan of for either side. Like I understand they've been trying to move off Ja, totally get it. I personally would have liked to see him go to a team a little more interesting, like maybe the Suns. I think they could have used a splash. I think he would have fit well next to Devin Booker. They needed a point guard, more so a ball handler, a guy who can get downhill. Made more sense to me, but nonetheless, Portland makes the move. So in this deal, the Grizzlies obviously send out Ja Morant, and the Blazers send out Jeremy Grant, which was a bad contract, and Chris Murray, who's just a young guy on their bench. I don't think it's a move it moves the needle for either side. I think it actually makes Portland a little worse just because of the redundancies with the guard. Like, it's a weird fit. You have too many guards. You have Ja, you have Dame, you have Scoop, you have Shaden Sharp. You have Denny Avia, who's not a guard, but he's another ball handler and guy who like not only but primarily plays with the ball in his hand and is most effective with the ball in his hand. So that's just a lot of guys to share the ball around, and somewhat more, I'd say about two of those guys of that bunch have to get moved. I don't think Dame's gonna get moved. Like, I don't think they're gonna. He didn't come back, sign that no trade clause. So it's looking like Scoop, maybe Shaden Sharp. I don't know. I don't see the fit, and like they have him for 2 seasons, so maybe you wait this year out and you have this big expiring, and next season like you see what Portland does this year, you see what they're lacking, and then that's when you go make that big move. Like, maybe that's when the Celtics actually trade like Jaylen Brown. I don't know. My thinking is maybe they thought like you bought really low on Ja, and I don't think he is. I think people have kind of overstated his regression. Like, I think he's lost a step or two, some athleticism. Like, those injuries start to add up. He has some miles on his legs, but I don't think he's just a bum how people talk about him. And I think probably should have got a package better than Jeremy Grant as just the main piece. So very interesting to me. And also on the defensive end, like Ja and Dame, you're gonna start them next to each other. Okay, cool. Who the hell is gonna guard? Like, especially with Denny out there at the 3, like you got what's his name? Tomorrow. Like, he's a guard, maybe he'll probably start at the power forward. And then you got Klingon, who's a good rebounder, good rim protector, but I don't think it's enough. Yeah, and then on the Grizzlies side, like, you're starting over. You're building around Boozer. Not a great haul, but hey, that era's over. You got rid of Jaren Jackson, you got rid of Desmond Bane, you got rid of Dillon Brooks. Now Ja's gone. So ready to start pushing forward to the new era of Grizzlies basketball, I guess. And then just closing out really quickly, the Thunder shed a ton of salary, got off a couple of their role players, and specifically sent them to the East, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, they can cool in the sense that he's thinking bigger picture. Like, a lot of those bench guys that they have on their team can be starters for a lot of teams around the league. You don't want those good players to end up facing you, so you send them to the opposite conference to lessen that likelihood. So for starters, you had Aaron Wiggins going to the Hawks, which a nice bench piece. I think he'll fit in really well there. I think he can play 2 through 2. He can play 2, 3. I guess some small ball 4. Like, if you're going really small, he's a solid shooter, solid defender, just all around player. I think that's a good pickup for the Hawks. I think he'll fit really well. And then Isaiah Joe to the Pistons, which is a move I really, really like. Not only as a Pistons fan, but I just think he plugs in really well. Like, I think he's likely to start. It sounded like they're going to waive Duncan, and he's starting over Kevin Huerter. But in terms of like his head-to-head comparison with Duncan, I think he's a better defender, which will just already be an additive, because a lot of the times, Duncan had to get played off the floor just because, yes, the shooting's there, but especially when his shooting wasn't there, like, he was a liability on defense. So not to say Isaiah Joe is just, Tony Allen, but he's a step up. I think he's more willing to shoot contested threes, which I think is something that we kind of missed when we lost like Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, those guys are always ready to, fire wherever they were on the court. Not to say that Duncan didn't shoot contested threes, but there's just a little bit of a difference, a little bit of a hesitancy. Like, if he's going to shoot a contested three, he's going to be, a guy closes out, he pump fakes and shoots it anyways. Like, it's always like, thinks about it. It's a little more natural and I'd say effortless with Isaiah Joe. And I like that he sits deeper on the wings. Like, he's still a movement shooter, but when you have Cade playing at the top of the key and you have like Isaiah Joe on a wing, or we gotta wait to see who else they pick up. But him standing deeper just allows, and I'm pointing to like my imaginary diagram of a court, but him standing deeper just allows for a little more space, a little more time when Cade, if he's running a pick and roll, it takes a little bit more time for that guy to recover to that shooter. And like I said, he'll shoot contested shots. So it just opens up the spacing a little bit more. And I just think he'll be a good addition. But that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Peer Review Podcast. I'm going to keep going with the offseason moves. I'm going to make another video after this, just touching on more so the Lakers and additional moves that we've seen this far this morning. But I wanted to make sure I wrapped up, a lot of the things that happened on Monday. So thank you all for tuning in. This is the Peer Review Podcast, signing off.